at the Summer Fancy Food Show at the Javits Center in New York City. There are thousands of exhibitors from everywhere with all sorts of food. We decided to wander through the UK, Scotland area because in light of the Brexit, that's what's on everyone's mind. But there's also some great food here. Nick Dillon is one of the guys who sells it. Nick, nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Rhonda, as well. It's great to be here in New York.
First, let me ask you about your product, because I'm one of the few people that eats this regularly. It's distributed in one place. It is a holiday favorite in my house. So tell me a little bit about this.
This is our caramel shortcake, and it's an 8-month shelf life product. It's handmade in Scotland with a biscuit crumb base, cookie crumb base, covered in thick caramel and then covered on the top with chocolate. It's all natural ingredients, and I say it's handmade. This is about 3 weeks old, and we have another 7.5 months to go, I'd say, on that product. But it's delicious. So we're looking to start distributing more widely, starting with New York and the Eastern Seaboard area. We want to target that like a laser beam approach rather than just trying to distribute everywhere in the States.
So tell me what happens now to your business, and you have a very active business. You don't just sell candies, you've got other food as well. In light of this Brexit vote, does it impact your day-to-day operations? What's that mean for you?
No, it won't impact our day-to-day operations at all, is the short answer, and that's the answer coming from every sort of business. And I talk to, yes, we'll come up with a different political arrangement with the way we deal with Europe, but that's for the politicians to sort out, and we will sort it out. We always sort things out. But in terms of trading with people, if we have to fill out different forms, comply with slightly different protocols, then we'll do that. But we will keep selling, and our customers love our product, so they want our product more than we want to sell it almost. So we will break down any political barriers that might arise. But I think we're going to sort it out politically as well as commercially.
Tell me a little bit about what you're selling here.
Sure, so we've got a traditional Portuguese custard tart. We import them directly from Portugal, from Porto, and we're selling them wholesale into the US market.
So you import them. What happens now with what you're seeing with the currency in terms of your import costs?
Well, our particular company isn't affected by that because we're a US registered company already, and we import straight from Portugal, so the pound doesn't really affect us at the moment with that. It depends what happens with the euro. We'll have to, I guess, wait and see.
Any concerns about business in Europe now?
Yes, we don't trade with Europe, we just purchase from Europe, but I'm sure it's going to be affected by the Brexit vote. I'm not in favour of it. I was wanting to stay within the EU personally.
Is it going to be difficult? Now there is some uncertainty. Nobody's really sure how this is going to play out. Does it change the way you think about the business every day, or do you just have to kind of go in and put your blinders on?
I mean, it's business as usual for us. We're still going to keep importing. I guess the currency fluctuation will impact us because we'll have to hedge against the currency. But apart from that, it's business as normal.
What has been your reaction and the reaction of some of the people here to the Brexit vote? What does that mean for people in business in Scotland?
Well, it's very much business as usual, to be honest. This is a hugely important market for us. We'll be selling over $1 billion worth of Scottish food and drink into the North American market. So our commitment to the market is the same today as it was, to be honest, 3 days ago before the vote. There's a lot of things we don't know in terms of what will happen, but there are some things we do know. We know we've got a premium quality product. We know we've got a customer base here increasingly looking for products with a good story behind it. So none of that has changed because of the vote. So if we were committed to the market a few days ago, we're even more committed now.
What about commitment to the UK, though? Won't it be different now for the people that sell their goods in other EU member countries' markets?
Yeah, it's going to be an important debate. About 80% of all our food exports are sold to the rest of the European Union. So it's kind of the ball game for us in terms of our export performance. That's why we're here building more markets, building markets in the Far East, the Middle East, as well as across North America. As to what happens to Scotland's position in the UK, that's just going to be part of the debate. But ultimately our view is that if we've got a good quality product and it's competitive on price, people are going to want the product. So that's not going to change.
We were talking earlier about Brexit and what that means. You have an interesting perspective in terms of previous turmoil.
Well, I mean, I don't see us leaving, to be honest with you. I think that it's a misguided vote. I don't think people really realise what it involves. I think when it comes down to it, you're going to see that we don't actually leave. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, if we didn't leave, we've already seen the turbulence in the in the exchange markets. That's obviously going to affect me buying my raw materials. It's advantageous to selling chocolate to the United States because the dollar's great. So it's got ups and downs. But I personally don't see it's going to happen. I think it was ill thought out by politicians.
And even some people didn't know what they were voting for when you read some of the stories afterwards.
You read that the most popular Google, I'm embarrassed to say in England, was what is the EU? But I don't think people have voted against themselves economically, and they haven't realised that. But I think it's going around the world, I participated in living in Venezuela for the last 20 years. I got a cocoa farm there, and the power of the vote voted Chavez into power. You've seen it in Austria, almost the right wing taking power. You see it in America. You've got Donald Trump potentially becoming. And I think people are tired of politicians in general. They see them not delivering, and politicians should be aware that the power of the vote can vote them all out. And the same in the UK.
We know people are never tired of chocolate, which is what you sell. Tell me about how the export business changes for you depending on what happens here for your business.
What do you mean in terms of? My goods will get cheaper. So for the US market, you mean? My goods will get cheaper.
What about anywhere else?
They will get cheaper everywhere. And my raw materials will get more expensive. So that might be advantageous. But on the bigger picture, interest rates could go up in the UK, so borrowing money would be more difficult. So, there's things I haven't even thought about.
Will you have to pause if you were thinking about expansion or doing more for the business? Is there a level of uncertainty that will impact you day to day?
No, I'm really unusual because I do something that other people don't do. I make real artisan chocolate. I sell in 35 countries around the world. It's a high end. I source all my beans directly from the farmers. I can't see myself slowing. There is a demand for what I do, so I fall in a slightly different bracket.
Bradbury's Cheese, tell me about what you've got here.
We're an English cheese exporter, so we're showing our wares, everything from cheddars from England, Ireland, Scotland. We also blend our own cheeses as well, so we've got some quite innovative flavours here. Cappuccino, mint chocolate chip. We've actually done a New York cheesecake just for the exhibition to sort of enlighten and delight our US friends.
Tell us how your world has changed potentially now that the Brexit vote occurred. What does it mean for your business?
I think it's fairly new. Obviously, the decision was only last week, and there's obviously quite a bit of turmoil in the markets, currency at the moment. We import European cheeses into the UK as well as exporting to places like Canada, the Middle East. So I think it's about, at the moment, making sure that you spread the risk, which is something that we did as a business.
How did you do that when you say that?
We bought currency ahead at a good rate, and it's about making sure that we mitigate that risk because we never really knew which way it was going to go. Obviously, the Remain campaign was very confident they were going to win, but obviously there was a lot of noise around Brexit. So I think from our point of view as a business, that it's going to be a challenging time, of course, but with challenge comes a lot of opportunity. We're not exporting in certain countries, so where there are people, we would be at an advantage over them. So there's a lot of opportunity out there as well.
Would you hesitate at all whether it's taking out loans for expansion? Do you feel the uncertainty is that great that you would change your course of business other than that currency hedging that you did before the vote?
No, I don't think so. We've been established for 130 years, and we don't intend a little sort of bump in the road like Brexit to mean that we have to start remortgaging the business. It's not going to be as severe as that. We'll go to our customers, explain the situation, and we'll put our price up, and that's what we'll have to do or look at alternative methods of buying products and shipping it across. There's other ways to skin the cat, so to speak.
Well, if you've been around for 130 years, you've certainly seen your share of issues. So
not
I guess
me personally.
No, not you personally. It's eating all that cheese keeps you young, right?
That's right, absolutely. Yeah. I'm actually 134. Yeah.
I knew it. Well, it has been great chatting with you and seeing what you're selling here and getting your thoughts on a very big political moment in the UK.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that's just a quick look at what's happening here at this show. You can see kind of a mixed conversation with some of these shop owners that we talked to, but it is definitely the topic of conversation, even here at this Summer Fancy Food Show. I'm Rhonda Schaffler for The Street.